KARE 11 investigates out-of-state fraud tourists. They're pleading guilty in Minnesota homeless housing scam. Folks, there is a major investigation that KARE 11 News, if you don't know them, they're out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. They have reached the courtroom climax this week. A group of out-of-state fraud tourists have officially pleaded guilty to orchestrating a massive scam targeting Minnesota's homelessness housing funds. Folks, Minnesota is the state, I'm going to call it is the California of the Midwest. They're the state that spends so much but gets nothing. They are the state where, a lot of your income can be garnished and you will still have the same amount of lutefisk on your table by the end of the day. It's not going to make any difference to you, the citizen. It's going to make a lot of difference to people who benefit from the systems that you have created. That is what Minnesota lays out. Federal prosecutors have revealed that the ringleaders have traveled to the Twin Cities specifically to exploit the emergency programs designed to help the state's most vulnerable residents by using stolen identities and shell companies. The group managed to siphon off hundreds of thousands of dollars intended to provide roof overhead security for those living in the streets. I mean, I think that in terms of protecting people from rain, absolutely we should be doing those sorts of things. Can we do them through things like maybe not housing first programs, maybe things more akin to homelessness shelters, these sort of camp-like facilities where we put these people where they can get a job, they can work their way up to earning paychecks, they can, I don't want to sleep there because they'll steal my stuff. Well, maybe we'll pay security. It's pennies on the dollar. I'm sorry, it's just a fact. I don't understand why, I am not an executive. I'm not a person I'm not trained in tax law. I'm not trained in any of this. And I feel like you are also on the same level of understanding that I might be. And yet we, as just ordinary people, could probably do a better job than these people are in the state of organizing their systems. The scheme was sophisticated. It involved the creation of fake sober homes and temporary housing vouchers that existed only on paper. According to the KARE 11 team investigating, the fraudsters used social media to recruit participants from across the country, teaching them how to bypass Minnesota's oversight systems. The tourists would then fly in, file fraudulent paperwork with local agencies, and then funnel the diverted taxpayer money. God, I'll get it, money into private bank accounts before fleeing back to state lines where they came from. During the plea hearings, internal documents were released showing the blatant disregard for the group had for the community that they were robbing. Text messages recovered by the FBI show that the defiants were joking about how easy it was to milk the system, while actual families remained on years-long state waiting lists for housing assistance. Oh, man. To understand how people from out of state are able to attain better money programs, better lending programs than people who've called this state home for the longest time, it makes no sense to me personally. I think it's ridiculous how Minnesota likes to rape its own civilians. It rapes us. I'm sorry. It's true. I don't understand why you bring that up at Minnesota is exorbitantly taxing its people. That you bring that up at a dinner party and then you shouldn't probably use the word rape. Like, hey guys, our paychecks are getting raped. It's true, but maybe we shouldn't use that word at a dinner party. We'll just say we're being our paychecks are being our paychecks are having their yeses and nos disregarded by the IRS, and they are putting their hand in the dress regardless of our answer. It's just a fact, and it's unfortunate. I'm using this because I'm a feminist. This language is really illustrative, and it helps people understand the situation. It's just a fact. The case has sparked a lot of firestorms on the state capitol. Lawmakers are now calling for an immediate audit of all third-party housing contractors to ensure that this kind of predatory tourism cannot happen again. Guess what? It's gonna happen again. Sentencing is beginning, and Minnesota officials are promising a total overhaul of the voucher verification process, meaning, maybe we'll ask for a license or something. That'll definitely quit. That'll quit it up. For the families that are still waiting for a place to call home, the recovery of these funds offers a small glimmer of hope, but the damage to public trust in these social safety nets may make it way less effective as a program to help out the people who are truly in need. I don't care because, quite frankly, you as the civilian have the right to know exactly where each cent is being flowed to. Let's get this news straight from KARE 11 themselves, ladies and gentlemen. Play it up.
Today, guilty pleas by a pair of so-called fraud tourists who came here to Minnesota from out of state and stole millions of dollars from the state's housing stabilization program. Investigative reporter A.J. Legault reports from the federal court on the latest fallout from his housing hustle investigation.
Luxury cars, fancy clothes, Dr. Anthony Jefferson sold himself on social media as living the good life. A man about town in Philadelphia. He was also president of Good Life Christian University.
Nice.
But his good life came by exploiting the lives of Minnesota's poorest.
Excuse me, sir, why did you take so much money from our housing program? How much did that coat cost?
Jefferson admitted in court he stole $3.5 million from Minnesota's housing stabilization program, along with his co-conspirator, a Chanel suspenders-wearing man named Lester Brown. Carol Levin discovered he's actually...
These two fine-looking gentlemen, straight out of the Boondocks. They got the big beards, the melanin all in the skin, the gap tooth and everything. It's accurate. They fit the description of the fellas that you'd assume would be engaging in this behavior. The forehead size is limited. I will say this: this is a different breed of sub-Saharan African. I'm not saying that they are, not Americans, but I'm just telling you their racial background because I don't know. That's just what it is.
Pastor.
If it was a white lady, I would tell you that.
And the Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming.
Maybe I didn't need to tell you because of the accent, because you would have probably just heard it and been able to assume, but yeah, whatever.
On this day, a masked Reverend Brown did not want to talk to reporters. Reverend Brown was in attack racing. After pushing his way through the revolving door, the fleet-footed faith leader booked it away from our cameras. However, he had a friend in court. She identified herself only as Ms. Reed, who had her own message.
I look at it this way. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Okay? Nobody's perfect.
We learned in court that two men used imaginary employees and ChatGPT to forge fraudulent housing records. The charges against Brown and Jefferson, who also left court face masked, came in the wake of Carol Evans' housing hustle investigation that sparked numerous FBI raids and, today, 4 guilty pleas, this time from out-of-state profiteers.
This fraud tourism is new.
Minnesota's former fraud-fighting federal prosecutor, Joe Thompson, brought the charges back in December.
They heard that Minnesota and its housing stabilization services program was easy money.
Because it is, quite frankly. If you don't know Minnesota, it is our tax system, we take a lot of money from good people. Teachers, doctors, doctors' assistants, nurses, general store owners. We take everybody who lives in our state's money. We grab all of it together in a pile and we say, hey, maybe let's look at your tax bracket. Let's look at how much you make. We'll take maybe 10 to, let's call it maybe 40% of your income, depending on whatever tax bracket you exist in. And then let's take all of that money that we've just collected from our state and local agencies, whatever. Let's not prepare to fix up roads in the summer. They're all gonna be under construction, but they're gonna somehow turn out worse. It's just a fact. Minnesota has road construction out the wazoo, but you always see these people standing around doing nothing. This is slander, by the way, absolutely, on every construction worker in Minnesota. All of you fuckers stand around doing nothing. You do nothing, and yet you somehow manage to collect checks every single day. It's just a fact. I watch every construction worker. They're lazy pieces of shit. I don't care if you're an electrician. I don't care if you're a drywaller. I don't care if you're laying tar. Most of the time, you check out these work sites, and people are not doing shit. It's just a fact. And I have a sneaking suspicion that most of these construction companies, most of the people that are tarring up the roads, most of the people that are, even the people that are government contracted or whatever, they know that this is all just a fucking fraudulent scheme. How else can you explain the fact that you've been living in your city since you were a child, and the roads have somehow, they have not only gotten worse, they have managed to turn into, they look like back roads in a Middle Eastern country. These people, they have potholes that have taken out children. They have potholes where children have torn up their ankle and their ACL. They've lost a football season because of these roads. And it's all at the expense, while at the same time, people in the Twin Cities are buying Bugattis with the money that should be going to retarring these roads.
For that easy money, the Philly fraudsters are now facing hard time. The sentencing will be at a later date. The U.S. Attorney's Office is now in crisis following mass resignations, including Joe Thompson's, who refused to go along with the DOJ's handling of protester Renee Good's killing by an ICE agent. The DOJ had to fly in a prosecutor from Detroit, Julie, just to handle prearranged guilty pleas.
Well, it's so frustrating because I feel like they really were starting to make progress from the U.S. Attorney's Office on all this front. So what
You think?
now?
It was building such momentum. Law enforcement sources tell me that there would have been numerous new charges filed in January and here in early February, and none of them are happening right now.
Do you think it'll take years, or maybe they just go away, these fraud cases that could have been prosecuted?
They're gonna go away.
I really don't have the answer to that.
Guys, I love that we're all sitting here as the Nords up north. They say that we breed them tough up north. Minnesotans, we're sitting up here in our Dairy Queen lines. We're bobbling our heads around. We're going, I don't know much about nothing. I don't know much about what the state and law. I don't even know who the mayor of my town is. But gosh darn it, I just love being so nice. I just love that the entire country's image of us is just William H. Macy and fucking Francis McDormand. And we're just a nice buggy. Like, all of us are retards. I'm sorry. You talk to any Minnesotan at a diner counter and they will go, yeah, man, fuck ICE. But, like, the Somalis, it's not all of them. Like, straight up, like, why are you talking about Somalis even at all? Like, straight up. Like, you talk to these people that are getting hash browns served to them at the Red Apple. They're, like, obviously they're hungover. It's past church, but last night was Saturday night, and they still had to get up for Catholic Mass. So, they showed up. All the old people are also there, you know what I mean? So everybody's there. Everybody's sitting at the places, and they're all quiet because it's after service and whatnot. And then, some of them are brave enough. Some of them are brave enough to go, hey, we actually do need immigration enforcement. Hey, we do need ICE. But, like, the way that they're doing it, I agree. Maybe we shouldn't have boots in the street. I agree that maybe we shouldn't be doing these sorts of things. But you'll talk to the average Minnesotan, and they're ready for abolishment of ICE. They are ready for immigration and customs enforcement. Yep, yeah, we don't even need it. I'll just abolish it. Just like, I'm tired of, hold on, no, actually, I gotta listen to Streets of Minneapolis real quick on my iPhone 14 on Apple Music, and don't tell me anything about paid agitators. Don't tell me anything about it is good people who have work in the morning, standing in the cold for the rights of people who would rape their children, and you are being anti-American when you stand up for the idea of borders. You are being and they're the chillest people. I love Minnesotans. They're my favorite. They're giving. They are very nice. They are the perfect population to steal from. They're the perfect population to victimize. They are the perfect, because they're docile and they're quiet and they want to be known as good people. They just want to be known as good people. They want to help the world around them. They want to help dig a fella out of the snow. They want to go and they want to pay for someone's gas because then they get to use their Casey's points. They want to go and they want to just listen to, at the kids' graduation, to the Ojibwa kids bang the drum, because goodness, we're so culturally kind up here up north. We breed them nice up here. It's fucking phony and it's false, and it's all so that everybody can stroke themselves over the holidays. It's all so everybody can sit at their lake houses and go, yeah, man, I don't know nothing about nothing, but we're just great. We're really great. We're awesome. It's the California complex. It's the, hey, if I'm a property owner in the state, I don't give a shit, because more likely than not, I'm making enough money to afford it. So I really don't care about the condition of streets in major cities. I live in a nice little town. I live in a town with less than 8,000 people. I'm set. I go to church every Sunday. I don't give a fuck. Let the Somalis in. I don't care. I don't give a shit about cultural relevance. I don't give a shit about honor killings. You ask any Minnesotan on average, hey, what do you know about the Arab culture? What do you know about Islam in general? What do you know about its doctrines? And they'll go, yeah, I just know that they reject the divinity of Christ. They probably don't even think that Jesus is real. I don't know. I heard a lot about it after 9/11, and then Bush just kind of told us that it was the religion of peace. And then Minnesotans haven't thought about it since then. That is just a fact of life, and they're being forced to contend with it. They're being forced to contend with the fact that Islamophobia can just genuinely be a concern about Islamic culture. They're being forced to contend with the idea of a culture that unfortunately normalizes rape at rates that, I'm sorry, our culture never has normalized. I'm sorry that we're having to contend with the idea that globalization. are linking hands with everybody, because ultimately when we just talk to fellas, when we just talk to each other, we know that we all want the same thing. We know that we all want to send our kids to school. We want, maybe not all the girls, maybe not all of us want to send the girls to school, but like we all just want a nice neighborhood for our kids to run and play. Well, maybe once again, not the girls. They got to stay inside and whatnot. But like we just all want the same stuff. We want equal rights. We want, well, not for gay people in most of Africa or like most of the Asian world, or like not for guys. Stop thinking about the nasty little stop thinking about the cultural differences, man. We love the holding hands, and we love America, the melting pot, because God damn it, when you get down to it, at the end of the day, every one of us just loves this country. Well, maybe not all of us. Because actually, our country is a symbol of oppression and has been tearing down native peoples and other indigenous peoples from around the world for forever. So actually, see how globalization ultimately is cultural suicide. It is ultimately the idea that there is nothing unique about you, your society, its values, or its culture, and inherently, as a result, doesn't need to be protected. It doesn't need to be preserved in the minds of the generations that grow up in it. It needs to learn that everybody everywhere thinks the same way that they do, despite the fact that history is there for you to look and observe and see that not everybody agrees. Not everybody wants good schools. Some people want bloodshed and tyranny. Some people do, and Hitler understood that, unfortunately. And a lot of people will not contend with that. A lot of people in their minds and hearts, they will go, no, he tricked the people. He tricked the German peoples. He sold them a version of something they didn't even understand it. No, they did. They actually pretty much did understand it. They actually understood exactly what it was. They thought that it meant that their nation would be king. They thought that they would be supreme. They thought that they would ultimately they would bring forth a generation of socialism that would cure all the world's ills as long as everybody ultimately was, along with our program. And regardless of what side you sit on, unfortunately, the right and the left have their versions of this. The left wants a unionized world where borders don't technically exist. We all share everything. There's a collective unionization where, the working man has everything. We own the farmland. There's no capital. There's nothing. Everybody kind of lives in the same home, which is just communism, which will eventually result in a society's decay. Or the right, which is saying everybody just go to church and work on the melanin, work on just reducing it, or stay. How about this? Actually, don't reduce your melanin. Just marry someone that looks similar to you. Marry someone that is of your same culture, and let's keep to ourselves. So ultimately, no matter which side you're on, no matter which side you claim to be on, no matter if you're a Democrat heavy or a Republican heavy, your side is drawing towards cultural suicide. It's drawing towards the idea that ultimately we're building to nothing. We're building to the next fall. Guys, America is the Roman Empire. Too many people, not enough land, and not enough resources. That's where we're heading. We're on our way. And whether or not it will be your family, whether or not you plan to have kids, whatever, America's on its way. And we probably have experienced the highlight of it. We've probably experienced the best of what this country had to offer, and you should appreciate the moment that you were born and the moment that you lived, because quite frankly, I don't know where it's heading from here on out. I don't know if globalism will be the death of the West, and I don't know if capitalism will eventually result in everybody living in slums while a certain few elite live in mansions. I don't know. I don't know where this world is leading to. All I know is that you have every reason to be scared.